where do you see technology changing the fire industry in the next few years? Well, it's a good question, Mark. I feel like, for me, what I think, this is just personal, I think what I think is going to happen is AI is going to make everyone a little bit smarter from what they know. And so basically they'll go, right, we know that we have to abide by this rules. So I think it should make people fall in line a bit better. So they'll be aware of the risks more. So they'll be like, all right, we know we need to do a fire drill. We know we do our weekly checks, and we've got there might even be ways of setting up alerts on computers so people don't forget, things like that. I think it's just a way of more awareness again.
I think you're absolutely bang on with the AI. I think AI will end up controlling all aspects. Yeah,
Terminator.
It will be the Terminator. It's
going to be
but you'll have a AI in a, I don't know, say a computer tower that's obviously heating up or whatever. I'm not saying that they're going to explode, but you could have an AI that automatically kicks in a fan or something to mitigate the risk of that overheating. Or you may in the future have portable heaters that are AI controlled. So you probably have it now where they respond to the fluctuation in the temperature, but it turns it off if it gets to a certain, or it detects a signal that there's an error in that machinery or anything like that. I think that's where it's going to go forward.
Yeah.
But I think as technology moves on, we're always keeping up with it. So the simple aspects of a TV, a monitor, your portable appliances, we bring the risk of them down through pat testing and things like that. So there'll probably be an advancement of how we do that test in line with whatever technology starts getting introduced or down the line.
Yeah. But you should have a robot that goes around your office the whole time, just checking everything. He's constant, just going around.
That's all he does.
That's it, yeah. It's his job.
What a job.
I know. We've been going on these new fire panel courses lately, and we found obviously they do more what they can do behind the scenes and stuff, and it's crazy what you can link to it now. So you can remote into these fire alarm panels when they're in fire. You can see what the fire is. So I don't think you can silence it. I think if it's in fire you can go, but if it's in fault you can see what the fault is. But then it's I think where could then a machine do that? So they could be monitoring it constantly and going, oh, this is a false alarm. This is not a false alarm. Is that going to be good? Is that going to be bad? I think then you've got to have something else to check the machine then, haven't you? Where do you draw the line?
Yeah. I think it's that you're always going to have the teething problems, but then, like you say, it's putting your trust into something that you can't see.
Yeah.
And you see a maintenance person come out and do a job, and you're like, oh, you're seeing someone doing it, but if something
certificate, it's done.
Yeah,
they've signed the dotted line. Where if you're waiting for a robot to say, "Well, we've checked everything," instantly.
Yes,
but if you've never had to wait, no fee, it's done.
That's it.
It's done. Yeah,
and you're like,
oh, is this? I don't know. Is it on fire? No, it won't be a fire because the AI is gonna
pick it up.
Yeah, but then couldn't this be the whole sort of tinfoil hat thing where AI tricks you, saying that you're building safe, and then you're not. It's on fire, yes. And then they win the human race.
Wow.
Yeah. Got deep.
Tell you what.
Tell you.
That's a topic for another one.
She says, what is the worst management procedure that you've seen and what could be done? I think one of the worst ones I've seen where basically they just did nothing. They just assumed that the fire brigade would get them all out. Which was one of the biggest things for years, wasn't it? We'll just don't have to evacuate any, especially in care homes.
Yeah.
It used to be, the fire brigade will get them out, which, when was that, 2 years ago that stopped, saying that they're not doing that no more. But simple things like fire drills. If you create a fire drill, you're going to see within 2 minutes if everyone's listening to what you've told them, or if people are in the toilets, or who's not getting out. It's just so simple, like a 2-minute test, isn't it?
When you answered the question, you said, nothing. I've seen that a few times, and again I think it's that people don't realize what a fire drill, we'll speak about the fire drills, what it's meant to do, why we do it, and it's just to instill procedure with the staff or the confidence with the staff to be able to
Not panic.
not panic and exit that building is
Yeah.
in the time that they're meant to exit it. And that's what drills do. It's not necessarily for the people who are coming into the building, because in theory, the employees should be guiding them out anyway. So,
Well, it's like when you ask them, when you do risk assessments, you ask someone, "Oh, what do you do if there's a disabled member of public here?" And they always go, "Oh, I'll get them out." And you're like, "But you've got anything in place? If you don't know, and you're the owner or the manager, the staff need to know. Otherwise, the people will be stuck."
And simple things like the check, say a check of an extinguisher, visual check of extinguishers. I think maybe to a certain extent people just like, "Oh, well, I get them checked every year." But that's not to say
12 months, isn't it?
It's 12 months, something. You could have a extinguisher in a factory that's been knocked or something like that. And it's about spotting that before there's a time where you may have to use that.
Yeah.
And I think it is that. It's these cases where nothing's put in place, but the things that can be done in a short space of time. But then once you've got it set up, it just carries itself, and you add to it, which is great.
Well, that's where you can implement AI, isn't it? When you've got it in place,
yes,
set up alerts, then you can make it better. Yeah, much better like that.
And there's the positive AI. So you could have an alert system on your phone. You could be the CEO of a company or the responsible person of a company, and there's the alert. Oh, right, checks. But then them checks, to a certain extent, could be activated by an AI.
Yeah.
Like your fire drill could be activated, but you'd still have people registered, doing the register and timing and things like that. But we just never know where the future's going to take us. But we'll be there.
Oh, we'll be there.
Yeah.
Got another question from Peter. What happens when the fire brigade turn up at your premises? So when they turn up your premises, it depends on what they turn up for, really. So if they just turn up to do unregulated inspection, so they haven't given you notice, they've just turned up, the chances are, if they don't see anything horrendous, they're just going to go, "Oh, you know what it is, right? Can you have your risk assessment? Come see all your certificates." And it's normally, if they have a look around, nothing's too immediate danger, they'll normally say, "Right, you've got 6 months, 6 months, sometimes less, sometimes more, to get everything in place." It's when they see something horrendous and they're like, "Right, you we're going to give you a prohibited notice, or which stops you from trading, or we're going to say you've got 3 days to do this." It depends what they find, doesn't it?
And I mean, the second one, like to stop the trade of business or close somewhere, has to be something significant.
It's normally sleeping, really, isn't it?
Yes.
The only time I've really seen it, mostly like restaurants where they're sleeping above and there's just no fire separation. Or the worst one is when they say they're not sleeping.
Yeah.
They go up and there's beds and you're like, "No one's sleeping here." Someone's definitely sleeping here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's that thing with businesses as well, because a lot of FRAs of recent I've been doing, the fire brigade have either been coming out or they've been out. It's a lot I've seen, like, in a pattern.
It's getting more and more, though, isn't it?
I think it's increasing, definitely. But at the end of the day, when someone walks around their business or their property, they'll have a good idea of what they should have been doing or what's not been implemented, or they can spot a big hole in the wall and things like that that they haven't done anything about. They're the people that panic. Whereas you've got the other people who sort of don't know what this visit's going to bring, but the business is absolutely fine. And I think it's just that being aware of, at the end of the day, the fire brigade are coming out and doing these inspections as much as a risk assessment, what we do, to help that business, to make that building safe. It's not, the last thing really a fire brigade or wants to be doing is closing a business down. But to be honest, that falls back on the responsible person. They should have been implementing things and putting things in place long before that visit. So, yeah.
Well, we found it with like sort of building control, where people normally put plans in and they'll get worked up building control. But then you get the people who haven't. And then we'll come out and do a risk assessment and say, "Well, hold on, you can't have this many people in here. because you've only got one exit, you've only got two, you need more. Where by putting things into building control, people go, oh, I can probably get around it. Like, how are they going to know? But it is really for the safety, isn't it?
Exactly, and that's what it boils back down to. And I think there's this preconception sometimes of people looking at the fire brigade's visit or an FRA inspector's visit as this panic. Everyone just goes into like a panic mode, but it's not meant to catch people out.
Mm-hmm.
It's there to point out things that you probably haven't seen yourself maybe, or point things out that need to be regulated and need to be done and implemented for the safety of everyone.
Yeah.